Hi everyone, this is Mark Siegel, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create a real quick Google form to use as an exit ticket or as a simple quiz in your classroom. So once you're in Google Drive, the first thing you want to do is go over to the Create button on the left-hand side, click Create, and you'll see a button that says Form. So when you pop open the form, the first thing you want to do is always give your form a title. So I'm just going to call this Quiz 1. And then you can go scroll through and pick a particular theme. I'm not a big fan of fancy themes, so I happen to always like this Books Classic one, so I'm just going to pick Books Classic. Now you'll notice the theme does not affect the actual questions or the layout. It will only be viewable when the person looks at the live form, which we'll do at the end of the video. So what I want to make sure I do is I want to make sure that I put in questions that I want to make sure that I think ahead about what types of questions I want to put in. Now, mine scrolls down automatically, but when you come up to the top, you'll see that there are certain buttons checked. So like require Middletown Township Public Schools to log in to view this form, automatically collect usernames, etc. So if you're going to send this outside of the district, you want to make sure you uncheck those boxes. If you are going to, if you're concerned that the students don't have their Middletown accounts, you want to uncheck those, or don't remember their passwords, uncheck those boxes. Otherwise, you can leave those on, and it'll automatically collect their username and the timestamp that they took the quiz. So, for the sake of this, I am going to actually just do this to show you how the complete walkthrough, how to create some questions. So by default, the first question that's going to come up is a multiple choice. I'm going to change mine to text, and my first one's going to be name. Now you'll see there's a help text underneath it, so I want them to put in their last name, first name, in that order. And I want to make this a required question. And the reason for that is they will not be able to finish the quiz until after they have answered that question. And then I click Done, and it saves it in here. And I realized that while I put Quiz 1 as the title, I never put in a description of the quiz. This is a basic quiz for understanding the stuff I taught. Cool. So you can do whatever you want. I mean, if you want to leave a long description of what they're going to do, you can do that. So now I want to add another item. So I'm going to click on the little arrow next to it. And now I can see all the different choices I have. So I want a text box, again, for this next one, because I want to collect their email address. Now, again, you can tell them, oh, I only want your Middletown account. Now, if you don't need to put in this box if you are going to collect their Middletown information on login. So they have to log in and automatically grab their username and their email address. Okay, so now let's actually put in the questions that we need for the checking for understanding. So since I teach chemistry, how many hydrogen atoms are in water? Okay, so I want this to be multiple choice. And my multiple choices options are going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, and this is going to be a required question again, and I hit Done. Now, if I know I'm going to do a whole bunch of the same type of question, I'm just going to click Add Item, and what it does is it automatically repeats the last item type that you just did. So I just did a multiple choice, so it's going to give me another multiple choice. So let's add another one. What is the formula for carbon dioxide? Okay, and my options are going to be H2O, CO2, H2O2, or HCl. And it's required, and I hit Done. Okay, I'm going to have one more question. That's going to be all I'm doing. So I'm going to say, what is the name of the solid form of carbon dioxide? Okay. So this one you have dry ice, wet ice, hot ice, or I'm going to do none of the above. I always hate that question. I always hate it when there's none of the above. Okay, now one thing I want to do in this last one is I kind of want to help the students like remember what dry ice is. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm actually going to add a picture. Now you notice you can add a video now too. So you can actually set this up in such a way where I could find a video of dry ice sublimating. But I just want a picture of dry ice sublimating. So I can upload a picture from my computer, but I don't have one right now, so I'm actually going to search by URL. I'm going to hit search at the bottom. And in Google, I just type in dry ice, and it's going to search. Now notice you can also filter by color. So this one's a perfect one right here. So I'm going to check this box, and I'm going to say, please select that. And it's loading the image. And I'm not going to put a title on it, and that's my dry ice. Okay? So, but I realize that now that I've set this up, these are kind of going out of order. You'll notice that when I hover over it, it has a little crosshairs. I'm going to click up my left button, and I'm going to drag my question to below my dry ice picture. There we go. You have to find just the right spot to put it into. So now I've got this picture, and now the question comes immediately after. So it's a great way to put that right into it. Make it a more visual quiz that goes along with it. Okay, so now I'm finished. So at the very, very bottom, you can see it says your response has been recorded. If I don't like that as my response, I can always change it to thank you. I will have the results to you shortly. Whatever you want to put. You can just leave it as your response has been recorded. Okay? And that's it. And now the form is saved. And every time you take you click something or change anything, the changes have already been saved in forms. Okay, so I want to see where the responses are going. So when you first create a form for the very first time, it might not have the spreadsheet ready. For some reason, mine made a spreadsheet already. So I'm going to click this responses button. And you can see that I'm going to change my response destination. So I'm going to create a new spreadsheet, and my new spreadsheet is going to be called Quiz 1 Responses. And I'm going to click Create. And you can see it's loading right here, and now it's good to go. So now if I click View Responses, you can see here's my timestamp, name, email, etc., and here are the answers to the questions. So the one thing you want to make sure you do after you finish that is always double check your form. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to the tab that has the form on it, and I'm going to click View Live Form in the toolbar. And this is what the form is going to look like when I send it to people. There's my picture, and there are my questions. And the other thing that I always like to do is I always like to take the form too. I always like to answer my own questions. So, and I always use my fake name. This way I always know which one's my fake name. I always know which one's a fake response. And I do this just to make sure that all the questions are filled in correctly, and that when I click Submit, it submits properly. Everything ran through perfectly. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back to my responses. And you can see here are the responses I had to the question. Here's my email, the 3 answers that I have, my name, and it timestamps it for me as well. In the next video in the series, you'll see how to grade this form using different scripts.